What's up, guys? Retro Gaming Guy here. So today I have probably, in all honesty, the YouTube channel that I go to the most. And I've got Alex Arnold here from the Arnold Life, massive Indiana Jones fan. So first off, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
For sure. And I know it's tough on a Friday night. I'm actually thinking about switching my nights up because Fridays are tough to get people dialed in, especially when there's so many other things that you could be doing on a Friday. Now the weather's getting better, so certainly appreciate it. But I'm a massive Indiana Jones fan, and my audience knows that because I'm constantly shouting Indiana Jones out from the rooftops here, and I've got the cabinet, I've got the pinball machine, but you
Which I
behind you,
love.
I mean, you've got way more than I've got going on back there. So when did
Oh
you
yeah.
start being a an Indiana Jones fan?
Oh man, this dates back all the way to when I was 5 years old, when my family first showed me the movies, which I probably was a little too young, but
Sure,
I've had just a passion for it since I was that young. And when I was little, obviously at that time there wasn't very much Indiana Jones stuff out there. But for me at 5 years old, I'd grab a little cowboy hat, I'd have a little
sure.
journal as like my grill diary, and then ironically enough, Indiana Jones hates snakes, but when I was 5 years old, we always had those little coiled rubber snakes,
Oh
and it looked
yeah,
like a whip.
yeah.
It looked like a whip to me, so I would use it as my whip.
That's awesome.
So it worked.
That'll do it. Yeah, I remember those. I remember those coiled snakes too. That's stuff that we don't really have now, or I don't. At least I don't
No,
see it now. But
I haven't seen them in years.
so
So,
let me see. I always try to just kind of engage with everybody in the live chat a little bit too.
oh,
So
for sure.
let's see if Indiana Jones like wrestling. Yeah, I like old school wrestling too. So that's my other thing. Um, so yeah. So when did you start collecting Indiana Jones stuff? Because you've got, again, a massive collection behind you. I'm super jealous because I only have a couple of things, and of course they're not behind me in my backdrop here. They're all over there on my other desk. But
um, well,
huge
what you do have back there is pretty cool, though.
for sure. I went big there, but yeah, I've got some posters and stuff like you, but not on the large scale there.
Mhm. So my collecting really started probably about 7 years ago.
Okay,
And my uncle was a regional manager for Blockbuster. And obviously, when Crystal Skull came out, they had a whole bunch of indie merch at Blockbuster
sure,
that was exclusive to Blockbuster. And at the time, I wasn't collecting then in 2008. I was a lot younger and couldn't afford any of that.
sure.
But years later, my mom has always known I loved Indiana Jones. Thank Thankfully, she saved all the stuff from Blockbuster that my uncle had gotten from the store after they closed and everything.
Hmm.
And she pulled out of her closet one day. She had the DVD resin case for the first three movies that
Oh
was
wow,
exclusive to Blockbuster. She's like, "Hey,
yeah,
I've had this. I actually just forgot I had it, pulled it out and gave it to me as well with the cups that was from Blockbuster." And from that moment, I just took off and started collecting. And now I
sure.
have a whole room here in storage filled with Indiana Jones
Oh
stuff.
wow, so there's more than what's just behind you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here,
Love it.
actually, it might hopefully no one's motion sick. I'll give you a little look here.
Sure.
All that.
So
So,
wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm super jealous of what you got going on, and I've actually, because I follow your channel. Whenever you find like new figurines and stuff like that, and you post like a
yeah,
link, like I've got above. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I've got one of the little pops of
the Funko Pop.
ink,
Yeah, the
the
gold
Funko
one.
Pop. So I hope you
Yeah.
got your I hope you got a commission off of that because I bought that from your link. So you're definitely
I
bad news for me, but um, yeah, yeah,
Well, thank
bad
you. Thank you.
influence. For sure, for sure. Not that it's a life changing amount, but yeah, anytime. Wow, that's yeah. So I have a little bit of lag on your video, but I'm seeing the
Oh,
panoramic
it's
view
just now
now.
coming up now? Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That is pretty
all
far
good though. I
behind.
can see it. Wow,
All
that's
right.
yeah. I'm super. I have the smaller posters here that are only I
Okay.
don't know, like 2 foot by I don't know 3 or 4 feet. So you definitely
Okay.
have the
Yeah,
larger
these are the
scale ones there.
27 by 40s. They're all
Okay,
originals. Um,
nice.
so I got them off of auctions, and then the most recent ones actually Lucasfilm sent them out to me. So
That's awesome. And you got to
that was
go
pretty
to the
cool.
premiere of the latest
Yes,
movie, right? So I
I
saw
did.
that's actually what I saw first. That's what kind of got me into your channel was I saw your reaction video to being
Okay.
invited, and
Yeah.
I could just relate
Oh
on so
man.
many levels because that would be like the most emotional experience for me as well. So
It was
I love
hands
seeing
down.
that.
My wife got a little upset with me because she's like, "You didn't even cry when your kid was born."
Hey, Indiana Jones
And
hits different.
I mean, this was a lifelong dream that I never even
For
thought it
sure.
was going to happen. So, but she's
For
been
sure.
super supportive about it. So I really appreciate her for that.
That's good. You have to have a wife that's supportive, otherwise you'd be in the
Oh yeah.
doghouse for the amount of stuff that you have there.
Oh yeah.
And
No, this wouldn't be here.
and thank you, RC, for the support there. Do appreciate that. So, what was the experience like when you went to that premiere? So it was
Oh
you're not in
man.
California, right?
No, no. I'm based out of I say Tampa, Florida. I'm 30 minutes north of Tampa in
Oh,
Florida.
okay, okay,
And I flew out there. I didn't have to fly out there, but I flew out there for the premiere for 3 days, and it was just so exhilarating. The whole thing, it still feels like a dream to me, and it was amazing. Just the fact that they reached out to me and they saw all my Indiana Jones content and
sure.
loved it. That they invited me out. It was through the help of one of my good friends, Trader Brandon, who's
Oh,
worked for
okay,
Disney, and I'm not
wow.
sure if you're familiar with him, but
I
through
feel like
him, he
I feel
really
like
got
it's
the
a
ball
familiar.
rolling.
Yeah, the name's familiar to me. That's
Yeah,
awesome, though.
Brandon. Yeah, so he kind of helped really get the boulder rolling on that, and he's pretty much responsible for me being able to get out there. But we met through my passion of Indiana Jones, and it was amazing. So
That's incredible. That's and you're one of the only because I search for Indiana Jones content and it's hard
uh,
to find. So
it
you
is.
would consistently come up. So I love the fact that you are dedicated to that and you've done so much more than just like what I would call like fan videos, but you've done unboxings, you've done
Yeah.
of different products related to Indiana Jones. You've done I saw you did a Lego scene recreation, which was awesome to see as well.
Yeah.
Um, and you were recently on site to where they filmed the opening scenes of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah. I flew out to Utah. We do like a family trip every year.
Okay.
And so at least one family trip. And this one, I was like, you know what? My wife, she wanted to go hiking. And I was like, well, there's hiking in Utah. Indiana Jones was filmed in Utah. Let's go. So we went out there and she loved it. And it's beautiful out there. It's actually the first vacation we went on that I had a hard time coming back home from.
Okay.
Because I loved it so much out there, and
It
I
looked really
recreated
nice,
some of the
yeah.
scenes.
For sure.
You're out there, everything looks fake.
Yeah,
So
right. It's funny how similar it looks to I mean that came out in '89, right? So I mean they probably
mhm,
filmed it year and a half before because I know it took a lot longer back then to produce
mhm.
films. But it's funny, like you can see slight differences in like the rock formations, but for the most part, I mean it looks pretty damn
It's
on point.
absolutely. I was really, really impressed. And I was like, wow, this looks like it was straight out of the movie, like still there, like the same.
Yeah,
Um, I had, trying to get the right angles in my videos that I was doing was pretty tough because of the equipment they had, but it came out pretty good,
yeah,
running down that hill. I don't know how River Phoenix ran down that thing because that thing I have it on one of my videos. It is so incredibly steep. They
yeah,
had to have like kind of fixed it up a little bit so he could do all that jumping and stuff. I don't care how old he was. Like
yeah,
that was
yeah.
scary. And but
It's
it
funny
was
you mention
really,
that.
really
It
cool to
does
do it.
look very vertical, a steep
Mhm.
incline there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, So that's pretty crazy. And I do want to just thank Bill there for the support. Thank you so much, Bill. And RC from NYC, thank you for gifting those memberships there. Really appreciate the continued support here. And definitely, guys, check out. I put a link that is pinned to the top of the live chat for Alex's channel. So definitely check him out. Give him
Thank
a
you.
sub over there because again, if whether you're an Indiana Jones fan or not, you're gonna respect what he's doing over there. It's just really incredible stuff. So it's funny. I've had some really prominent, people here on YouTube that have been around for a really long period of time. I've been looking forward to
Mhm.
sitting down and talking to you the most because we have so much in common with Indiana Jones. But you
Oh, I
mentioned
really appreciate that.
before,
That's awesome.
yeah, man, for sure. You mentioned before Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So do you
Mhm.
get endless people commenting? letting you know how much that movie sucked because
Oh
I
yeah,
see it everywhere.
yeah.
It's
It's
unbelievable.
it's kind of funny though, kind of like how Star Wars was with the prequels and how it's
Sure.
garnered some love now. Now that Dial of Destiny has come out, I've actually seen a lot of people say that, oh wow, Dial of Destiny actually made Crystal Skull look good,
Really?
which I'm not in that boat. Like
I'm not either, but
I'm one of the very I'm in the minority that actually enjoy Crystal Skull, and
I
a
did
lot of
too.
people will say I'm biased because I went out to the premiere for Dial of Destiny, but I see the message that was in Dial of Destiny, and it's a little bit deeper than I think maybe some
Yeah,
people can grasp. And I really
sure.
appreciated the full circle moment of what happens in Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
So
Plus, I think it's just like at least for me, I gave up hope that they were going to circle back and do another Indiana Jones. So then when I
yeah,
saw, the news that they were doing it, I was just like, they've said that so many times before.
yeah,
And then next thing you know, they're actually filming it, and I think
yeah.
they were filming it in England. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, it was. I don't know. It was just for me, just the fact that it finally got done, and we're finally kind of wrapping up that story. And you know that Harrison Ford's probably not coming back in well into his 80s if he were to do another outing.
Yeah,
So it was it was good just for that, and then it had a good
mhm.
cast.
Yeah,
The storyline, I actually went and saw it twice in the theaters because I felt like I didn't grasp all of it, and I feel like it's one of those movies you have to watch multiple times to like pick up on different things and to
yes,
really bring it home. So I've watched it now probably 4 or 5 times, and I'm still learning new things. Each time
absolutely. And that's James Mangold for you.
for
His
sure. Yeah.
quality is in his detail, and
Hmm.
there's just little messages that you start picking up. I won't even say how many times I've watched it, but every time I watch it, it gets better each time.
Yeah,
And I've just okay, that makes sense. That makes sense now. And just the
for
fact,
sure.
like a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, how does he get back?" From the last
Right.
scene without I don't know if anyone's hasn't watched it or anything. I don't want to give too much away, but if you notice, like when he's panning, just the little details, you see the medicine bottle, you see little things on the windowsill that don't need really explanation, but it's there to show you, okay,
Yeah, it all
So
ties it
it's
together.
little things that you start picking up on, and I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is it the best? Is it the best one? No, but I also went into this movie knowing it's not going to touch the first three, and I think that's what kind of helped me
Right.
like it more.
Right.
So,
I think that's important. I
going
think you
in
have
with
to
that,
realize it's not going to touch the first initial
mm,
three in the trilogy,
no.
and it never does. I mean, how much time has passed since those? I wasn't even born for the last of the first three.
Yeah, I mean,
I got into everything in the '90s, but
mm,
I was 18 or so when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. So I mean,
yeah,
my entire 18 years happened between those films. So yeah, you can't go
absolutely.
into it with the same expectations, I suppose. But I actually liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I found that up until the latest one came out, that's what I went back and watched more because I'd seen it less than the first three. Like I would watch
Mhm.
the first three on repeat, as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So, the fourth one, while it's not even close to on the same level,
Mm.
it was just that newer sort of experience for me. Um,
Yeah.
so
So
of
I would be the worst movie critic out there anyways, because as long as you just give me some action and something fun, I'm
Yeah,
happy. I went in for adventure and to laugh a little bit, and that's what I got. So
sure. And I have a question here from Alfred that I'm just seeing on the side, and I do apologize. I have my lighting kind of poorly placed today, so I'm seeing the live chat comments a little bit oddly placed today. So I will adjust that. But Alfred has a question. I got a question. He's an Indiana Jones fan. Does he like the series that came out a long time ago, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? So I'll let you answer that, and I'm going to adjust my lighting.
so yes, I do like it. I will admit I haven't watched that in years. And I simply haven't watched it because I'm afraid I'll start collecting from that series as well. So I've
Sure.
kind of stayed away from it. I don't remember much about it, but I remember when I did watch it, I did like it. Again, it's not for everybody. It's definitely a lot different than the movies. But I
Sure.
enjoyed it for what they were. But I've stayed away from those simply because if I start watching those, I'm going to start collecting that, and I don't own anything
Understandable.
from those.
Okay.
So
And I believe Harrison Ford did a cameo in that as
he did.
well in one
Yes, he did.
episode or so. I remember seeing bits and pieces, and it's funny. I actually started trying to rewatch that on Disney Plus right before the movie came out, and then they like pulled it off of Disney Plus. I think they kind of jumped the gun and released it before they were supposed to. I think now it's back on there, or it was back on there. So
Mhm.
I've got to go back because I was like 2 episodes in, and then it disappeared for a while. So,
Yeah, they
um,
cut a lot of stuff out of those too for the streaming as well, like the old
oh, okay,
indie.
yep.
From what I was told, the old indie intros, like he's not canon anymore in from the
Oh, okay.
Chronicles. So
Didn't
I
know
don't
that.
know if they kept that in there or not, but last I heard they took his part out.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay. All right.
you know,
I'll have to look for that. Broke Daddy Gamer, Last Crusade was my favorite. That's actually my favorite. What's your favorite of the five movies now?
that's always a hard question for me. I've
Yeah.
narrowed it down to two,
Okay.
and it's Raiders and Last Crusade.
Okay.
It really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I want something a little more humorous, I go
Hmm.
Last Crusade.
Sure.
I will okay. I will say I tend to watch Last Crusade more than I watch Raiders because it's more heartfelt for me,
Hmm.
and I like that. And I think Raiders is like the perfect movie, but I feel like Last Crusade is definitely a lot more fun, and
They're
so it's
very
better
different.
in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
movie.
I,
It
I can
is. So
understand that.
it's really
Um,
hard for me to pinpoint exactly which one I like.
it's funny. I go back and forth between those two as well. But as a child, I liked Temple of Doom the most. I think probably just because Short Round was in there, and
Yeah,
there were
you can relate.
there were kids in there too, so you can relate to it a little bit more.
Mhm.
But yeah, now I think it's Last Crusade because I like Sean Connery so much and I like the
Yeah.
dynamic of the two of them. You
Oh, they're
got James
great.
Bond, Indiana Jones, you really can't go wrong there. But
Oh, yeah.
Raiders as like a standalone film is phenomenal too. So
It is.
it's a tough one. And Paul has a question. Hey Alex, do you think Laura Croft could be Indy's secret love child? That's a good one.
I mean, it could. I mean, I love Tomb Raider. I think that's great too. So that
Yeah.
would be pretty cool, if they kind of, do that curveball in there.
For sure. Well, for us, that I assume we're probably close in age, but I assume that was pretty much as close as we could get to having Indiana Jones when we were kids was Tomb Raider
Yes.
games, and then the movies came out. I was probably 12 when those came out,
Yeah.
or started coming out. So yeah, that was about as good. And then the Mummy movies I also liked too, but they always felt like
Love.
the Wish version of
Yes.
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
So
But the first Mummy movie is fantastic.
it
That's one of
is.
my other favorites for
It's
sure.
actually re-released, I think this
In
weekend. Actually,
theaters.
it's
Yeah.
25 years. Yeah. So
Yep.
the first two are really
So
good
crazy.
of those. Yeah. And I'm also a Brendan Fraser fan as well because
Mhm.
of those movies. So I'd love to see him come back and do
He's
another one, but he's got to get in shape a little bit.
yeah, for sure. Well, I saw recently he's looks like he's is trimming down a little bit. He looks good.
That's good. I
So,
haven't seen him since
so
I watched The
he
Whale that he did when he had his
uh
comeback and he won, and that was good. Good acting.
yeah.
I'm trying to think what else he did. Oh, he
I
was
think I
in the
saw
Scorsese movie with DiCaprio.
yes, I forget the name of the I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
It's a really long
But
title. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But I saw him at the Oscars on TV and he looked pretty good there. So
Okay.
he's definitely slimming down. So we'll
Good.
see. You never
Good.
know.
You never
I
know,
know he
that's for
said he's up
sure. And
for it.
that 90s stuff is huge right now too. I could only imagine what the Mummy would do today because they did
Oh
that
man.
like sort of spin-off weird one with Tom Cruise that was I didn't see it, but
Eh,
I've heard horrendous things.
yeah, yeah, that
I'm not
that
a big
wasn't so
Tom
good.
Cruise guy. I never really got the Tom Cruise thing. Top Gun's
Yeah.
good. Like the early stuff is good, but I don't
Mm,
know. I don't know. Um,
yeah.
there was a question there that I wanted to see. Oh, something about Mosquito Coast was his worst movie,
Ooh,
so I assume that was Harrison Ford's worst movie. I didn't think that it's a weird
I thought
movie.
it's a weird movie, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's very
not
bad.
terrible. You got a Witness
Man, like
reference there.
Witness.
Witness is
I
good.
just watched that the other night. I showed my wife that for the first time the other night, and it was good.
It is good.
So,
Him and Danny Glover's really good in that
oh
movie.
man,
Um, yeah, I remember watching that watch that way younger than I probably should have, and just being like scared to go into like restrooms in public after watching
right?
that movie.
Like,
uh,
jeez.
yeah, that was a tough one.
Oh
um,
man.
Everybody seems to be into Sean Connery in the live
I
chat, so
see
that's always
that.
good. He's easy
Yeah.
to
Yep.
like. That's my favorite James Bond too, and it's
Oh
weird
yeah.
because I typically won't go back to like, I mean, that was like early '60s when he first came out, and those movies
Yeah.
still work today.
Oh yeah.
Um,
They've aged very well.
yeah. Now,
So.
I do a lot of gaming stuff here on the channel. I mean, that's mainly what everything kind of ties into gaming. Did you grow up playing the Indiana Jones video games?
Oh yeah. The greatest Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures on Super Nintendo.
There you go. Yep.
Hardest game in the world, but
Oh
I
yeah. I mean, I
love the
still
hell out
struggle
of
with
it.
level 1 on that when I'll do like demo videos and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I get stuck on that just in like the first jump alone sometimes.
Yep.
Definitely
I
a
can't
definitely a
ever get
challenging
past
one.
that boulder. The second part of the second level there, the boulder. Oh
Yep.
my gosh,
Yeah.
so hard.
And my first Indiana Jones game was the Last Crusade for original Game Boy.
Okay.
So that one
Oh
was
wow.
tough because you didn't have like, you had this slight variation in color, but it was still mostly like that like black and gray, but it had like a little yellowish tone to it. It
Yeah.
was hard to see the damn thing. That's what really threw me off when you would have to jump
Oh,
through
those Game
like,
Boys, man.
yeah. And then actually when I got a Game Boy Color, my dad would buy me the original Game Boy games for it and not tell me.
Yeah.
He told me color was coming later. So used to get those because they were cheaper.
Oh yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, that was
Oh,
that was my
the good
first.
old days.
For sure. And then like the Xbox game was a lot of fun. I actually have a hard copy of that still.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm actually playing Emperor's Tomb
that's the one. Yeah.
right
Yep.
now. Yep.
Yep.
So
And
that's
it's
aged
nice.
pretty well too.
It has, yeah, for sure. I feel like graphically, the Indiana Jones games were always really good for their time too. Like
They're not
even,
bad.
yeah, even Great Adventure, like the colors in that
Yeah.
game are really on point.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's and we also have a new game coming out later this year. I don't have the
Sweet.
release date of that yet, but that looks like it's
My
gonna
best
be.
guess is around Christmas. I think that's what they're going to aim for. They did say
Sweet.
this year, so
And I
I'm thinking around Christmas.
and I believe that's Xbox and PC specific, but I know that they were kind of
Yes.
going back and forth. I've heard that they were going back and forth because now they're talking about Xbox is going to license their games to PlayStation. Really haven't followed
Mhm.
up much on that, but I don't know if that's going to happen in time for that release. But
I,
um,
I'm
yeah,
happy Xbox has a nice exclusive coming out. I own all the consoles, and so it's not a huge deal for me. But PlayStation has Spider-Man, they have Uncharted,
yeah,
and all these great games. And Xbox, I
for
mean, what do
sure.
they really have? So
Not much
hearing
these
that, but
days. Yeah,
yeah, but hearing that, it's like I want this game to do incredibly well, so we can get
sure.
more. So I think I want them to release it on all platforms so it does do
Yeah,
well, you
right.
know?
It could be one of
So,
those where they released it later on too, but yeah, if they did it right out of the gate, it's going to have the biggest impact. But I've
mhm,
always been an Xbox guy more so than
yeah.
PlayStation. My stepson has the PlayStation up in his room, so I don't get on there much. So I'm
Mhm.
thrilled. I got the Xbox X sitting here ready for that game to slide in there. So,
I would if I didn't
um,
have one, I would have bought one specifically for that
oh,
game.
absolutely. In fact, I bought the Xbox because I always mess up the name, but it's the Dragon
Like
Emperor
that.
game there.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that one is one of the very few games that is actually backwards compatible now. You can get that
Mhm.
through, the Microsoft Store. So
Yep.
that's permanently on my Xbox Series X here. So and
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
challenging game too, but it's
It
it's
is.
a it's a good one. Long
Yeah.
too. I mean, it takes quite a while to get through that. I've been chipping away at it. I mean, I beat it when I was a kid, but yeah, just
It's always fun to
getting
replay
myself
those
ready
again.
for the new game, and the graphics on it look phenomenal too.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so
I don't mind the
really,
first person. I'm glad. I'm actually kind of glad they're doing something a little bit different, so it's not getting compared to Uncharted. I
sure,
see why they're doing it, but they're also trying to appease, the third person fans by, when he's grappling or anything like that,
right.
it'll
It's
move
it's a
out
nice
third
combination.
person.
It seems,
You
anyways.
know,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
um,
But it looks like the villain in the game is like on point for like an indie villain. It looks like they really
mhm.
went through it, and I know they've been working on it for a while now. So
Yeah, 3 years now, man. This is unbelievable. I thought it was going to be canceled there for a little while.
I stopped hearing about it, so I figured it was, and that that kind of ends up being the case with a lot of Indiana Jones stuff, because I know
Hmm.
after 2008 they were kind of on and off with doing. Everybody seemed to want to do another one. I know that maybe
Hmm.
Shia LaBeouf kind of threw something into the a wrench in the wheel
Yeah.
there. Um,
Yeah.
how do you feel about him though? Do you like him in his role in Indiana Jones franchise?
I I didn't mind him at all, and honestly, I thought he probably would have done fairly well carrying it on, but then I think he just kind of went off the deep end a little bit,
Yeah,
and they were
I
like,
I
"Yeah,
think
no,
he's
we're not
an
going to do that."
incredible actor. So
He is,
yeah,
he is.
yeah,
I don't have anything against him, but
right,
uh, I remember during the press tour, he didn't have very like he would actually like not speak very well about the movie or filming it or anything like that. So
right.
I was kind of like, "What are you doing? Come
Yeah,
on,"
I remember Harrison Ford being very outspoken about his disdain for him, so I figured
Yeah, yeah.
he wouldn't be back. But he had also done all the Transformers movies, which I think is
Mhm.
Spielberg involved with those. I think he was, right?
I think he's. I'm
Not
not 100
director, but I
percent
think he was.
sure,
I
but
think he might have been like producer or
some
something. I
sort of
think he,
like executive producer or something like
yeah,
that.
I think he was involved in
So
some capacity with those. So maybe they had a tough go at it for all those films. But yeah, I was bummed out because I liked the way that it kind of looked like they were handing the hat over to him, in a way.
yeah, they teased it, and but then all that
Yeah.
happened.
Yep.
So,
I
but
don't think he's done
apparently
any movies.
George and no, he hasn't. Well, he's done like those B list type movies, like
Mm,
nothing big. But
yeah.
I know George and Steven were really up in arms about like what they wanted to do, and they couldn't really come to any sort of agreement
Sure.
on what to do, even for Crystal Skull up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And and then obviously years later for this movie, they finally decided to do it, but they got Mangold involved. So
Yeah. Perfect Storm Gaming. Yeah, that's if you just Google like Harrison Ford and Shia LaBeouf, I think you could see like his
there's
quote, and he has some harsh words.
yeah, there was definitely some drama between those two a little
Yeah.
bit. So yeah.
And Harrison Ford seems like he could be a little tough on people sometimes, but I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
and now I saw that he read one of your tweets. Is that
Yeah.
is that accurate? I remember
Yeah.
watching that over and over again and just
Um
thinking that was super cool.
that was
And
wild too.
that was on the
It's
press
funny
tour,
because
right? His press tour
yeah,
for the latest.
so the my local news station actually invited me on to talk about like me going out to the premiere, and they thought it was just a really really good like heartfelt story.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home that day, and I look at my phone, and I everything my notifications were blowing up like, hey, with this thing I was tagged in. And I remember a few weeks back prior to that, they had like this ask Twitter movies thing or whatever.
Hmm.
And it's like, ask Indiana Jones anything you want, pretty much. So my whole thing was, I don't have anything to ask, but I just wanted to thank you for, helping me get through some tough times in my life, because anytime I was like having a bad day, I just throw Indiana Jones on, and it
Yeah.
would just make me feel better.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
I think they picked like 5 or 6 comments, and that was one of them. And he, just it shows him reading my thank you to him, and then he just kind of addresses it and saying he's very grateful for, for all that. And it was just really really cool that they did
It was
that.
a heartfelt moment from him too, and like I said, he can be a little bit tough.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, tough
like
love for him, yeah, for sure.
I've seen him do interviews where he's not always like the most pleasant or like warm
Yeah.
or engaging. So it was cool to
Hmm.
see that sort of moment of him actually reading, what you said to him,
Hmm.
and it seemed to resonate really well. So it came
Yeah.
across, really nice.
It definitely felt genuine, which was very very cool.
Sure.
You don't usually get that reaction from him.
No, not at all. And he's always been like standoffish for like fans that, adore him for Star Wars, of course,
Yeah.
and Indiana Jones, especially Star Wars. That seems to be
He
like a
hates Star Wars.
yeah, it's a sore spot for him because he's not into it at all. But
Yeah.
and I know that's going to piss off Perfect Storm Gaming here, who's a massive Star Wars fan, but it is what it
Sorry.
is.
He's been very vocal about Star Wars. It's
Yeah,
not
he
his
just
favorite at all.
I don't think he was ever into it. And I mean, I could see how, like, when you're reading a script for something like that, especially, what was that, early 70s,
Hmm.
that probably seems like a weird one, like something
Yeah.
that's not going anywhere. But it did, and it did in a big
Yeah.
way. And I think that just speaks volumes of George Lucas and everybody
Hmm.
involved there to pull that off, because he was really, I mean, he wasn't even a big name at that time, really.
No,
So
no, that's what really broke him out.
RC
So
from NYC. I have Raiders on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. Whenever it's on TV, I stop what I'm doing to watch it. I'm the same way.
I
It's
I feel
very
that.
few movies like that. It doesn't matter where it is, and it could be the last 15 minutes. I will stop and watch that.
Yep. And it's funny, like
Um,
I'll be doing something in the house, and if a TV's on and that for some reason comes on, or if I
sure.
even if I hear just like a second of it, like I perk
Yeah.
up and I'm like, okay, that's done. I'm watching this now.
Yeah, there's very few movies, especially this day and age, where we have so many distractions, so many things that we can easily get tied up with. It's
Mhm.
very few things that do that for me. It's Gother, Goodfellas. Like, I'll stop and watch those.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but it's very few things that really draw me in the way that Indiana Jones does, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's
absolutely.
sure. So what do you see for, because you've got a good amount of subscribers now for your channel. What do you see the future for, what you're doing over there? Do you think that there's ever going to be a point where you run out of things to do with Indiana Jones, or are you always going to
I
have direction with that?
I've really thought about that a lot lately,
Sure.
because I mean, compared to Star Wars, there's not a whole lot of indie stuff.
Sure. Yep.
So, I'm gonna keep pumping out as much as I can, like quality content for indie.
Yeah.
I think I know Disney hasn't officially announced that they're expanding Indiana Jones to Animal Kingdom yet, but it's happening. They've hinted at it and they've teased it. So they've all but confirmed it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That'll give, another year or two of content I can put out.
Sure.
And the game, hopefully, obviously we can get more stuff, more games. So I hope they do keep pushing it. My biggest thing, I really hope, I mean, if they really thought about it and maybe revisit as an animated series. you know
That would be
we
cool to get that
we
younger
see
generation involved.
absolutely, and it's
Yeah.
you could explore anything, do anything with that character, with animation.
Yeah.
And you see this revival of like Marvel with the X-Men 97. It's doing fantastic. And so you have like the Spider-Man animated movies that are fantastic. So
Yep.
I think that would be the best way to kind of carry that on as a franchise.
Yeah, for sure. If you can get the kids into it early, I mean, it just opens so many doors, because I think kids gravitate towards things much differently than they did, when we were kids. We were
Mhm.
watching, obviously, the actual film, which I don't. My kids don't watch. They like cartoons. They
Yeah.
won't watch stuff other than YouTube. They're really big into YouTube, which seems to
Yes.
be everybody's kids these days. But they're watching kids on YouTube, so it's a little bit different.
Mhm.
But I think that ties into, if you can, even like a young animated Indiana Jones, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Adventures of Tintin was one that was like
Yeah.
kind of similar when they did the
Mhm.
film of that, and I know that's based on other stuff as well. But I really enjoyed that, and I was at an age where I didn't think that I probably would gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
And I saw Perfect Storm Gaming had a question: are you a Star Wars fan? Yes or
Oh,
no?
absolutely. Definitely not anywhere near as much as I am Indiana Jones, but yeah,
Sure,
I love Star Wars. Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character.
same.
Um, so
I
it's
think they
like
go
some,
hand in hand. I mean, I think Star Wars fans are Indiana Jones fans, not as much. And then us that are diehard Indiana Jones fans are Star Wars
yeah.
fans, but not on that same level. So I do think that they kind of hit that same audience, just in different ways.
Oh yeah. I used to have a whole Star Wars wall until Indy kind of took over.
Oh, okay,
So, I mean, I did collect Star Wars. I got, I've got Grogu, I've got Star Wars stuff in here, but I've just Indy's my number one, so that's kind of been
sure.
put to the side. Sorry, but
All good,
but no,
all
yes,
good. I got some
I
I got some Star Wars stuff too, but it's hard to spot with all the other stuff in here.
yeah.
Now,
So no,
where do
I
you
definitely enjoy it.
not to give you competition, but where do you hunt for Indiana Jones stuff? Because up until the
Ah,
last year and a half, it's been a challenge to find Indiana Jones stuff. And now
yeah.
they've put out a lot of new stuff too, which is awesome,
Mhm.
but it is hard to locate that older stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, eBay. That's
Okay.
usually eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. I've actually scored a lot of really good deals off Facebook Marketplace, and so it's just those third party sites that I really go to, and
Yeah,
toy conventions that I'll go to. But
sure.
sometimes, a lot of times, those toy conventions they're way overpriced because
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
for
little bit
sure. Well,
easier. So
they're banking on you being in the moment and grabbing something there, so they are
absolutely,
always, they're not competitively priced by any
and, they,
means.
and they've got me a couple times.
Oh yeah, I mean
So,
we've all done that. Um, so
but
yeah, so I actually Shop Goodwill has been a good spot for me to find some stuff. I
really,
actually have a yeah, it's a weird one, but like for me, I actually found one local. Like I got a the shipping will kill you on like certain things.
oh yeah,
So I was looking up that I found this poster and it's actually of course it's out of reach now, but I have this poster of The Last Crusade and it's not I think it's from 89, but it's not like a original movie post. I don't think anyways, it's a smaller scale.
Mhm.
But I got that for like $4. And it was because they had
Oh,
a shipping price of like $35, but I looked up the location and it was 30 minutes from my house. So I just drove down there and
oh,
got it. So sometimes you get lucky with that. But I also found, and this is the best thing that I have Indiana Jones related, but I have the satchel that I guess Steven Spielberg gifted to everybody that was on the crew for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
okay.
Everybody
I know what
got
you're
the
talking about.
satchel. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have one of those. And
Oh, I don't
it's
have
just
one of
like a
those.
weird thing to display. Like I haven't figured out how to display that yet. So it's been
Yeah.
wrapped up in the plastic wrap for about 2 years now.
Those
But
crew those crew items are really they can get really expensive too,
yeah,
for the
yep.
crew items. I love the crew items. I have several of them, and those are definitely fun to get.
Yeah, I just saw one go on. It wasn't my size, so I didn't bid on it, but it was on Shop Goodwill as well. It was a Last Crusade crew like cargo jacket, and it looked like somebody just like put it away when they got it, and it was in
Oh,
mint
wow.
condition, but it was like a size medium or something, so it wouldn't have looked right on me. But
I gotta start looking at Goodwill. That's crazy. I didn't think about that.
shopgoodwill.com. I swear by it. Like for gaming stuff too, for everybody else out there that, could give a shit about Indiana Jones, Shop Goodwill is awesome. You just have to look at the shipping but the cool thing is there's like this advanced tab at the top and you can look up
Mhm.
locations because basically what they do is they pull from different locations. So they'll pull all the good stuff and they'll put it online so more people bid on it. So that's why when you
Okay.
go to some of these locations, they don't have anything. All the good stuff's in the back that they're auctioning off.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
you'll find like you can put in like your zip code, I think, and it'll tell you what's close to you, and you can actually go and
Okay.
pick up stuff. So I've had some really good some finds like that, but I had to kind
Ah.
of ban myself from it because I got out of hand, as I tend to
It
do with
it
things.
it does very quickly. So, and I don't
Especially
know,
because
my
it's
wife's
not
probably
like
gonna
a
be upset
cash
hearing that.
transaction.
Yeah.
That always does it for me because it's just numbers on the screen sometimes, and then after you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that added
Oops.
up. Yeah, exactly. I feel like if I have like cash and I'm giving somebody cash, I spend way
Yeah.
less than when it's purely an electronic transaction. So
I I feel that 100%.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm just looking at your surroundings there.
Oh, yeah. Shop
So
Goodwill. I'm gonna have to definitely remember that.
shop
That's
Goodwill.
awesome.
Your wife's gonna send me a scathing
She's good.
email now.
She's I think she's watching this too, and man, she's
She's
like,
blocking it right now on all your browsers.
"Oh,
Uh,
man, too
Perfect
funny."
Storm Gaming. Mine is Luke. He's my childhood hero. Yeah, that's how it is for me with like Indiana Jones and like when I was a kid it was also Hulk Hogan and that's kind of diminished over the years. But Indiana Jones has
Mhm.
stayed true for me for sure.
Yep.
So in addition to Indiana Jones and a little bit of Star Wars, is there anything else that you're a diehard fan of, or is it just mainly that?
Oh no, I'm definitely a fan of other things. I would have to say my other favorite thing is Jurassic Park,
Jurassic
and
Park's good. Yeah,
not the newer ones. The original Jurassic Park, I think, is actually one of the greatest movies ever made. I
for
still
sure.
feel like
for
Steven
sure.
Spielberg and the crew sold their souls to make that movie because it holds up better than any other movie made today.
I totally agree.
So,
The graphics look phenomenal, even by today's standards. Like now, if you go
mhm,
back, obviously, if you're used to the latest ones, it's a big difference. But
yeah,
I just remember watching that and like thinking it was totally legit. So,
yeah,
and I feel like Spielberg has always been at the forefront of that with everything that he's done, like decade by decade. He's always kicked
hmm,
it up considerably. And even I've talked about this briefly, I think actually in the last stream that I did, or maybe two ago, but Ready Player One, a lot,
yeah,
it didn't have this huge impact that I thought it should have. I thought it was
hmm,
one of the best movies
yeah.
that I've
I
seen in
still
terms
watch
of
that
like
periodically.
yeah, it's one of those. It's also one of those that you can just kind of jump into it at any point in time, and
Mhm.
it just works. It sucks you in, and it's also one that you can watch multiple times and just pick up on new references and Easter
Oh
eggs and
man,
stuff like that because there's so much
hmm,
layered into that.
he's very
Jurassic
good at
Park
that.
3 was unforgivable. That was you know what, for me, I actually think that the second one, I don't know, it's I go back and forth. Both aren't they don't
the
touch the first one.
So
So,
the last like 30 minutes of Jurassic World, yeah, the Lost World, the second one
yeah.
is
Yep.
when the T-Rex is running through the city. I love that. Everything else kind of leading up to that, but man,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when the T-Rex is running through the city, I love that. But yes, no, Jurassic Park 3
yeah.
and the last one I thought was awful.
The last
Uh
one was just like too much going on. I didn't mind what was the first of the last three.
yeah,
I didn't mind that at all. I thought that was good.
no,
And then the
I thought
second
it was
one in
good.
that started to go down a hill a little bit. The last one was just like way completely off. And I remember hearing
My
about the storyline and just being like, "What?" It's
my
just
issue
so
was like it wasn't even focused on dinosaur. Well, it was the
not
locusts.
really. Right.
Like, how do you go
Right.
from dinosaurs to locusts?
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the theater and I'm like, when they popped up and that's what they were, I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, you set
Yeah.
this whole thing up in the second one of the last trilogy where like all these dinosaurs are like roaming the world now, and locusts, like, come on.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah. It
me,
was
that was pretty bad.
Yeah, and Captain Freedom likes the Lost World was a satisfying sequel.
I,
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I just there were parts that I liked, parts that I didn't like. I just remember the third one. I remember being in theaters watching Jurassic Park 3, and they just kind of like come through the jungle at the end, and the airplanes are coming to like get them, and the movie's over, and you're like, wait,
yeah.
we're already done
Like
with
what?
the movie. It just ended so abruptly, like they just pulled the cord out from the power
Yeah.
to it. So that's what I remember more vivid than anything. But it did have a good cast. I will say that. I'm a big
Yeah,
Bill
no, they kept
Macy
true to that.
fan. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Jurassic Park second book is amazing. I never read the books.
I read the
I know
first
that.
one. The first one's good. I didn't read the second one though. I may have to read that.
Yeah, I never. How about Indiana Jones comic books? Did you get into those? You had to have.
I did, but I
Dark
got rid
Horse
of all my
comics.
comic books. Yes, I do have the compendium, the first one of there's like several volumes. I have the
Yeah.
first one because I just picked it back up, but I went through a stage where I used to collect a lot of comic books,
Okay.
and Indiana Jones was them. But then I was like, man, this is taking up way too much space, so I
There's a
got rid of
lot
them.
of them. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
a lot of
So,
books too. I was always
mhm.
bummed that they didn't make The Fate of Atlantis into a movie because that was always
Oh
my
my
favorite
gosh,
comic book, favorite
it's
game back in the
fantastic.
day too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that used to stress me out trying to figure out that game as a kid, but also probably a little too young to be trying to play something that challenging. But it was a big part of my childhood. I played that game for a lot of years.
it's
Um,
fantastic. Like I actually was looking at it the other day. I wanted to download it again and play it again because it's been years since I played it. But I
yeah,
remember it being great.
it is very good, and it's one of those that you have to really think about, and you have to try different options and stuff. It was
Mhm.
it's a game style that you don't see today, but you can
Yeah.
get it on. I think Steam has it. I think I have it on my Steam account, and
Yep.
you can emulate it easily. I mean, it's certainly not demanding
Yeah.
at all. And Digitizer here, Brendan Fraser, The Mummy is a cool nod to Indiana Jones. Yeah, we were just talking about
Yep.
that a little while
Oh
ago,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, that's another one that. is kind of timeless for me in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah,
But
and he's such a good guy. Like Brendan Fraser, I met him once, and he's just the
really, that's
nicest guy.
awesome.
He's the nicest guy in the world. Like I could have sat there
He
and talked to him for
seems
hours.
he
He's
seems
genuine.
really, yeah, that comes through. Just watching like his acceptance speech, and
Oh
it
man,
was last year or the year before,
yeah.
and yeah, he just, you invest yourself in what he's doing, and you
Hmm.
root for him. So it's very few people that I think have that quality that just, make you instantly relate to them. And
Absolutely.
that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm hoping that his career kind of takes off again. I know they were kind of talking about doing, what was the movie with him and Pauly Shore they were thinking about doing. And
Biodome?
yeah, is that
Yeah.
was it
No.
that one? No,
Airheads? Airheads?
no, no, Pauly Shore's not in that. That they are
Is he not?
supposedly doing a
Adam
sequel with
Sandler.
that one though. Yeah, they are supposedly doing a sequel.
No.
Yeah, that's what I heard from.
Oh man.
I forget. I think it was him. It was an interview I was watching of him, and he was talking about how he had just. I think
Huh.
actually Adam Sandler was interviewing him. I think it's on YouTube actually. I saw it not
Huh.
long ago, and they were talking about doing another
Oh wait.
Airheads. Yeah,
Encino Man.
Encino Man. That's what it was. That's what it
Yes.
was. Encino Man's a good one, and Short Rounds in Encino Man too. So it was cool that both of them had
Oh.
won. Was it Oscars or Academy?
Yeah.
I
The
always get those
Oscars, yeah.
confused.
Yeah, they both got
Oscars,
Oscars. So well
and that,
deserved, you know.
yeah,
I'm
for
glad they're
sure.
making a comeback. They definitely deserve it for sure.
Yeah, they're just like guys that I never understood why they kind of disappeared. But
Mm,
it's funny like that. Some people just kind of fall out of favor for whatever reason without
mm.
ever doing anything, and then some people do crazy stuff and seem to still exist. So
Right?
it's funny how that works. But um, all right, well, does anybody have any questions in the live chat for Alex? Because I don't want to take up too much time on our Friday night here. School ties. That's right. I forgot about that movie.
Oh,
That was with
School
Joe
Ties.
Pesci, right? No, that's is that. I always get
Huh.
those movies.
I haven't seen
I think
School
it is.
Ties.
It's him and is it Matt Damon? I think it's Matt Damon. Yeah, early '90s.
I'm not familiar with that one. I'm gonna have
It's a
to look
good
that one
one.
up now.
I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm gonna have to rewatch that actually.
I just have a '90s marathon.
Oh, that's a good question right there.
Ooh,
Paul Waller, most valuable item that you
most
have there.
valuable item. Uh, hmm. Well, I'd have to say it's actually right here in the background. That frame right there with Indiana Jones, right there with Harrison Ford, that's his autograph right there. So you can't
Oh,
see it,
okay.
but
No, I can see
I
a little bit
probably
there.
so
Yep.
it's the brown frame one right there next to the Indiana Jones adventure poster.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my most valuable item.
It's
Is his
awesome.
autograph. I think.
Sweet.
I gotta
And
look.
did you see that they have this massive statue I saw recently, maybe a month or two ago?
Yes.
It looks, it's interesting. Really expensive. I want to say a couple
Five
thousand
thousand
dollars.
dollars.
Five
Five
thousand. I thought it was
thousand.
either
It's
three
the
or
J
five.
and D Last Crusade one,
Yeah.
and I uh, I wanted it. I still want it. I just can't justify spending 5 grand on it.
No, no, I definitely
It's
couldn't.
oh man, that's a nice trip to go see some filming locations and stuff, So
Yeah, for sure. That's true. Yeah, I can't get behind, big expensive stuff like that, but it is pretty cool. It's one of those
it's
things that,
amazing.
yeah, just to see like the details in it and stuff like that. And they do have some, I forget, was it that one or there was another one where there were some like there was some I saw like basically like a review of it, and there was some criticism about like some stuff that didn't look on point, but like you're gonna get that with with stuff like that, I suppose.
It, and
Um,
well, Harrison Ford's one to not always give the okay for his likeness.
that's true. Yeah, that's
He's very
true.
picky about that, and it's
Sure.
very costly.
Hmm.
So you have to pay for the license to even use the brand or the franchise name, and then you got to
Right.
pay for his likeness.
Oh, okay. So it's
So
two separate things. I never thought about it like that.
yeah, and
I
he
figured it
has
was
to,
like bundled
get
together.
approval. Yeah, I'm sure it is like somehow bundled together, but usually it's like two different things. He's got to give the consent for his likeness, and you got to pay it's now the Disney fee, and Disney fees are not
Sure.
cheap to
Sure.
have officially licensed stuff. So like I've bought some of this newer stuff that they have that doesn't really look like Harrison Ford at all. But to
Yeah.
me, it doesn't really bother me. It's Indiana Jones merchandise, and I'm happy to have it, because we
Right.
don't get
Right.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I'm one that understands that, not all these companies can really afford to do that without charging a huge upcharge when they go to sell it. So they try and get by with what they can to, bring us that brand. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's
It's funny. I used to hate Fortnite, and now I actually like Fortnite. But what got me into Fortnite was they put out an Indiana Jones skin,
yep.
and it's funny you mention that because the face is like the only thing that doesn't look like it looks a little bit more cartoonized. You can see that.
Yeah.
If you just look at that, you might not guess it's Indiana Jones, but the fedora, the whip, and
Oh yeah.
all the
You get
accessories, yeah,
you get
it
the
ties it
raft as
together.
the umbrella.
Yep, yep. There you go.
You
There you
know.
go. So that
I
got me
didn't play
into it. Now
I didn't play Fortnite until that.
I'm the same way. I
So
played it because my stepson was really into it, but I hated it. I couldn't understand it for the longest, and now that's who I play as still. And for a while I was into it more than he was. So yeah, it kind of brought us closer together there
yeah,
because
it's a little
that was
bonding moment.
that's what brought me into it. That's an awesome question there, actually. Would any of you fly on a
Oh,
plane with Harrison Ford as the pilot?
if that's the way I'm going out, fine.
There you go.
Absolutely, without a doubt, I would
You know what?
absolutely fly with him.
Watching Dial of Destiny, I just thought I remember sitting in the movie and just kind of like smirking as they're going down in the plane. And I was like, well, this is really believable,
Right?
because he's crashed quite a few times now.
Oh yeah. Well, he even says like, "You know how to fly?" He's like, "Fly, yes. Land, no."
There you go. That's true.
So yeah, no, absolutely would.
Not today, Jose. Not today. Let's see what else.
Ooh,
Do
do I
you
have
have
any
any
movie
movie
props?
props? There we go.
No, not official movie. I have a lot of crew gift items. Not a lot, but a few. I
Yeah.
just got off of Prop Masters. I have an original crew member Raiders shirt that was discontinued by Steven Spielberg. Only a few were made because it had the symbol on it. I'm not going to say, I don't know what the terms is for
Yeah.
being banned,
Yeah.
but you know what symbol we're talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's on there, and Steven Spielberg, apparently the rumor is he didn't want people walking around with that symbol on the shirt. So Joe
Right.
Johnston, who made it, they had to pull it. But I have one framed over here that I got from Prop Master. So I like those things, but I have
Yeah.
been looking to try and get some sort of like actual movie prop. I just haven't had the opportunity to really do that yet. So,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I do have some really, really cool things that really replicate it. And they're actually by far my favorite items in my collection. And they're by Regal Robot. I don't know if you guys have heard of them,
Yep.
but
Yep.
check out their website. They have a lot of prop replicas there, and they are identical to the movie props used in the movie because they actually get to go to the archives at Skywalker Ranch, and they handle them and digitally scan them to make for themselves, and they are the only ones that are allowed to really do that. So it's the closest thing you'll get to owning the actual piece and not paying $1 million at an auction
Yeah.
for it.
I've definitely combed through their stuff, and it's really it's
It's
one of those things I have to kind of
phenomenally done.
I have to distance myself from because there's a lot of really cool stuff on there.
There is.
And these guys won't let me. It's funny, guys. I was thinking we might get through here without a cheesecake comment. I did see some, but so here's the backstory, and I always have to explain this to guests, and it's one of those things. So I had Heck and Steve on. He was actually here Tuesday with us. But he talked about cheesecake once. These guys ran with it, and now it's like cheesecake, cheesecake, cheesecake in the live chat. And and I'm sure you saw there's emojis. We've got it all over here. So it's one of those things that took off. So it was funny. I was like, nobody's asked about Harrison Ford or cheesecake, or if Alex likes cheesecake. Do you like cheesecake? First off, because they want me to kick anybody out of here that doesn't like cheesecake. So
oh, really? So
somebody didn't. I forget who it was, but somebody didn't, and they were like, "Why is he here right now?" I was like, "It's not. It's not one of my questions."
I honestly, believe it or not, I don't have much of like a sweet tooth, It's
Okay.
funny because like when it's my birthday and we get cake, I don't eat the cake. I'm not, I don't, this cake's just not my thing. So I guess I've had cheesecake before. I don't mind it. I'll eat it, but it's not my
Yeah.
favorite.
Gotcha. All right.
Get
Well,
out of here.
yeah, right. Well, that's it for today. See, I waited till
Just
the
say
end anyways today,
yeah, see,
so
there you go.
it's all good. No, we had
Cheesecake
somebody that
forever.
didn't like it, and they were like, "Get him out of here." So,
That's
um,
so funny.
but yeah,
That's great.
it's one of those things you can't control. And I was giving Steve a hard time the other day when he came on, that he mentioned cheesecake and then left me with everybody with the cheesecake comments. But
Oh
it's
man.
it's cool. I mean, I don't, you can't control what people gravitate towards, but it's
The next
awesome.
person you have on needs to just be on camera as soon as they come on eating cheesecake.
It's a way to be an instant hit over here for
Right?
sure.
Man, if I should have known that. I definitely would have done it, even if I didn't like it.
No, I don't know. Maybe someday Cheesecake Factory will be a sponsor over here or
See,
something.
right there you go. Oh man, that
Let's
was
see.
great.
If I ever meet Harrison Ford, I'm going to ask if he likes cheesecake.
That's a
There you
solid
go.
question.
For sure. For sure. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I really appreciate you joining me. And it was great to, just chat with you about Indiana Jones and learn more about,
Absolutely.
you and the channel and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. Every time I go onto the YouTube Shorts side, it's your content, and I'm all about it. And I'm just, furthering the algorithm's reach over to me, because I actually seek you out to see like what has
Oh
Alex
man.
been up to.
I will
So,
say I don't post as much on YouTube as I do my other platforms. I need to really
okay.
fix that.
What other
But
platforms are you on too? Because
uh
I'm
my
one of the weird people that just does YouTube. So
yeah, okay. I'm gonna start focusing more on YouTube for my long form stuff, but I
sure.
do like a lot of shorts, but Instagram is really blowing
Okay.
up for me right now. I'm
Okay.
actually over there, I'm the underscore indie underscore guy. So the indie guy.
Okay.
And
Sweet.
you can find me there. And then my Facebook is another big one. It's just Alex Arnold. So
Sweet.
but yeah, no, I gotta post up more stuff. I've got a bunch of videos that I haven't posted, so I'll post them up so you can see them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, do it just for me, because
So, I
I
will.
have an Instagram, but I just don't get on there much. It's funny, since I started really taking the channel seriously here, like
Mhm.
YouTube eats up so much of my time. It's
Yeah,
kind of like going on Shop Goodwill. Like, I don't want to go on anything else that's going to consume the rest of my life up. So I try to
it
just
does.
stay over here. Yeah, it
It
really
really, really
does.
does.
Yeah,
So,
especially with the channel you get, and shorts for me has been one of those things that I've been trying to tackle, because
mhm,
um, I think it seems like I'm like the weird one that has better luck with long form, but I guess that is the way to go if you're, trying to grow and monetize and stuff like that. But
mhm.
just the fact that like I wasn't thriving with shorts made me want to like figure it out. So I've been
Yeah,
figuring it out more and more. But yeah, you
it's
seem
tough.
like you do more with the shorts, or at least I see more of your shorts than long form
I've
content.
gotten used to it. I prefer long form.
Okay.
It's always been my favorite thing, and I've
Yeah.
always liked shooting horizontal. No, I don't like the TikTok full screen. I hate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. For editing,
Um,
it's tough for me to get used to that too.
it's terrible, and I feel like an original filmmaker. I just like shooting the way it's meant to be shot, and
Right.
holding my phone like this. I don't like that. I like this. You know,
Yeah.
so it's gotten a lot to get used to, but I've gotten used to it. And I'm doing a lot more shorts now, but I definitely like the long form, so I completely understand that.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
tough, and for me, I do so much in long form, and people are like, "Well, just cut it down to short form." It doesn't line up with the shot. Like, things will be
no,
hanging over, so it's like, all right, then I have
hmm
to like squash it down, and I have the open, spots on the top and bottom, and it just drives
yeah,
my OCD nuts. So yeah, that's been the struggle with me. So then I was like, well, I'll just film things like two different ways, and then I'm like, I'm filming double the thing. It's just like it
yeah.
wasn't feasible.
And I
So
do that. It takes up so much time, but I
yeah,
love it. It's a hobby for me. So
yeah,
anywhere I go, I'm filming, and if I have the chance to film one way and then film the other, I will. But it's
for
definitely
sure.
been a lot to get used to. I'm getting there
Yeah,
though. Like
yeah.
YouTube is like my lowest follower count.
Really?
Surprising.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to.
My
I'm gonna jump on. I do have Instagram. I just never open it up. So when I open it up,
yeah.
it's like all these messages and stuff, and it's overwhelming. So I close it pretty quick. But I'm gonna check you out on there too for
Yeah,
sure.
Instagram,
So
I post indie content every single day. I've been
oh, so
posting something every single day for the last
wow.
like year and a half.
Okay.
So
All
it's
right. So
there's a
I'm gonna get on
lot going on
Instagram.
over there.
I'm gonna get over there again. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate you joining
Yeah,
us
man.
tonight. But enjoy your weekend, man, and I'll have you
Absolutely.
back on because I had a blast chatting with you, man. Thank
Hey,
you so
when the
much.
game comes out, let's do it.
Let's do that. Deal.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
absolutely. I'll have my cheesecake.
All right. There you go. There you go. Instant win. All right,
Yes.
man.
All
Thank you so
right. Bye,
much.
guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
All right, you too.
All right, guys. So that was a blast for me because, again, huge Indiana Jones fan. But I wanted to keep it kind of short this week. I have a bunch of stuff going on this weekend, but I wanted to just chat with you guys really quickly here before I take off. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight and with Alex, of course. Definitely check out his channel. Even if you're not into Indiana Jones, like he's just doing some really great stuff over there, especially with the shorts. That's again what I watch mostly, but really cool stuff. So anybody have any questions or anything like that before I let you guys enjoy your weekend? And I do want to mention I got a bunch of stuff that I've been working on. I've been kind of slow the last couple of days. It's been a couple weeks since I've missed like two. Is it 2 days now that I haven't posted? I think it is. I think I did 2 days back to back that I didn't post anything. Um, but I've been working on some reviews that are a little bit more in depth than what I typically do on here. I've got this massive gaming PC that I'm going to be doing a review of. That's a little bit more time consuming than the usual stuff. So I'm gonna get that done this weekend. And I'm thinking about next week I have Buff Bagwell coming on. Who, if you're an old school wrestling fan, he was in WCW, he was in TNA. He was in WWF for like a day and a half. So he's going to be joining us next Friday, and that's going to be a really fun, interview sort of live stream. So I do want to make mention of that. But after that, I think I'm going to switch up days because I have some stuff coming up that's going to kind of interfere with Friday nights, but it also seems like we did the live stream Tuesday with Heck and Steve, and it seems like a lot of people can, Tuesdays work for them or like weekdays in general work for them. So I'm not going to commit to like a set day every single week, but I'm going to try to do something during the week, most weeks, anyways. So we'll do that, and let's see. My lighting's still in the way today, but let's see. Are you going to wear? Oh, that's for Vito. Okay, I was like, I'm not wearing any speedos, but Vito, whatever you want to do over there, Vito. You might see something crazy tonight. You might. Let's see. He will have cheesecake. There you go. I'm just catching up on some of these because you know the deal. When I have a guest, sometimes these get away from me a little bit. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let you all go tonight and enjoy your weekend. For the wrestling fans, there's a pay-per-view tomorrow, which will be pretty cool. I got stuff going on all day, so I'm gonna have to catch it on the replay, I think. Then UFC pay-per-view tomorrow night. So, yeah. I hate not seeing these cheesecake emojis. So for me, because I'm on StreamYard for this stream, it doesn't show me like the actual emojis. I have to go over to YouTube to see them. So it's just like types it out as like animated semicolon cheesecake. But I know you guys are sending me cheesecake emojis, so I do appreciate that. Um, B-Rad. And I saw that you mentioned the name Dead Poets Society. That is the one with Joe Pesci, right? I saw that. So do want to shout out that comment because that's what I was struggling to think of the name of that movie. I haven't seen that in years, but I think it's on Prime or it was recently. So I have to check that out. Yeah, it seems like weekdays work better. It kind of fluctuates though, but this time of the year, I think now that it's warming up, it's getting to be good weather. They're going out. I mean, numbers are definitely down tonight, but that's all right. I also didn't promote this very well this week, but the cool thing is that we get a lot of views. That is one nice thing about being at the tail end of the week is that you do get weekend views. They just aren't in the actual live form. So nothing wrong with that, Vito. Plug away. I know you're gonna say something to that one. Oh, it's Robin Williams. So what's the one with? So then what's the one with Joe Pesci? Is that is that School Ties then? I mix those up every time. I did not, Vito. I did not. I've been late, like the last 2 days. I've been just editing videos. I'm editing the video that I did with Steve on Tuesday because I'm trying this new thing out where, and I've talked to you a little bit about this, Vito, where um, I lost my train of thought. Where the live streams that I do, once they're over, they seem to get views for like 48 hours and then they flatline because YouTube doesn't put them with like the regular videos. So I want to, at least with that one live stream, I'm gonna try it out, but edit it down so it's more like a regular video and then post it up from the from the live footage. So I'm editing out like things that don't really stay on point with the topic, like when we go off on little tangents and talk about something completely unrelated. I edit all that out, but I make it so it's like a smooth, sort of video about what we covered in that live stream. So I'm going to put that out on Saturday, so tomorrow night, and we'll see how that does. Just because I feel like the live streams, there's great conversation, there's also great moments in there, but in a 2 hour, 2.5 hour block, it's tough for people to sit down and actually comb through that large of a block of content. So just trying new things here. I know a lot of people that there you go. There's your warning, Vito. I know a lot of people that do that or like segment little clips and stuff from the live stream. So I'm going to do that as well and just, push this content out a little bit more since it's just kind of sitting right now. Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. That's a good one too. I love Rodney Dangerfield. I think that V is going to stream tonight and he might have a special guest on there. So definitely check him out. Yeah, that's the plan. So, yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. But definitely check out Vito's channel a little bit later tonight. I know it's getting late, but definitely check that out. But yeah, you might see somebody special guest on there. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And don't forget, next Friday, Buff Bagwell, and I have a special guest joining me for that one, in addition to Buff too, for a portion of that. So definitely check in. I'll do a video though, reminding you guys as well. Yeah, I mix that movie up all the time. That's one of those that I always screw up. So, all right, guys, we'll have a great. Did I just see it? There we go. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you guys next week. And I'll have a video out tomorrow night as well, and I'll be in the live, premiere for that too. So I'll chat with you guys if you're not busy and you're checking that out. But thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night.